Hi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another Priestess View. I'm Goddess Rhonda, and
Hi.
of course, we have with us our beautiful Goddess Star in her
Hi, everyone. Good to
beautiful
be here
dress.
again tonight. Oh, thank
I
you.
want
Thank you.
everyone Star's gorgeous dress because it is. Wait, let me blow you up so everybody can see you there.
Oh, no, no,
There
she
you
didn't.
go. Everybody look at beautiful Goddess Star's dress, of which I envy very strongly. It is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Much
I'm
like
wearing it to New Orleans, okay? I'm going to wear it to New Orleans when I go down for Hex Fest.
I think that you absolutely should.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, you know what? I
yeah.
can hear myself talking, so I did not put myself on mute.
Okay, all right. Do that, girlfriend.
That. All righty. So, as always, before we begin, we like to cast a circle of protection around us.
Hmm.
All hail, our lords and ladies of the East, our brothers and sisters, our brother and patron, the sacred element of the air, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee, my lords and ladies. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, so it is, so mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be. All hail, my lords and ladies of the South, my brothers and sisters, my brother and patron, the sacred element of fire. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge you, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is, so mote it be.
So it is, and so it is. All hail, our lords and ladies of the West, our brothers and sisters, our sister and patron, the sacred element of water, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is. So mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be. All hail, O lords and ladies of the North, my brother and sisters, my sister and patron, sacred element of earth. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge you, please cause a barrier of protection through all of your walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is, so mote it be.
So it is. So mote it be. And we now bring down the divine white light from the sacred source of all well-being and fill all of our spaces with peace and protection always. So it is. So mote it be. Thank you.
So it is, and so mote it be.
So tonight we are talking about the importance of becoming an adept, meaning being really good at something as far as in the
Yeah.
spiritual world. And there's the reason that we are doing this show. If you've been watching our show for the past couple of weeks, you'll notice that I say we because I'm not going to take all of the heat from it. So I'm going to include Goddess Star, even though it's really much of me harping on the fact that
I'm
automation,
actually there with you. I'm right there with
you
you. So
are.
go right ahead, girl.
It's really important to recognize that automation is taking over our jobs, our human jobs. And there could come a time when we are going to have to fall back like we did for thousands of years and use our witch skills in order to survive and to prosper and to provide for ourselves and our family. So just to kind of recap what we've been going over the past couple of weeks, we've got machines now that can pick the fruit and vegetables, so that can replace the migrant workers for having a job. And then for the farmers who can't afford that equipment, that means that the bigger commercial places will be able to outprice them, and that could put the local farmers in
Out of
trouble. So
business.
then there goes that.
Yeah.
We also have, I don't know about where you are, but here in, at least in Albuquerque, I can't speak for all of New Mexico, the post office is now closing an hour early. You have to use their automated machines if you want to get postage, and it does everything, you know, it does certified, it does everything,
Yeah.
but still it's a machine that's allowed them to close an hour early. The banks, my bank is now closing an hour early, and if you want to believe this one, this is where I'm actually slightly outraged about this. I went to make a deposit into my bank, the Bank of Albuquerque, and the woman behind the counter said to me, she said, "Are you willing to accept what the machine says your deposit is?" And I'm like, if it's right, what if it's not right? And she says, "Well, I'm not allowed to count your money anymore." I'm like, "What do you mean you're not allowed to count the money?" And she says they bought these money counting machines, and the tellers are no longer allowed to count the money. They
Wow.
have to put the money into this machine, and it's whatever the machine says. And I said, "Well, what happens if the machine is wrong? Are you going to check it?" And she says, "No, the best we could do is we could roll your money back out of it, but I can't check it. I can't count it." So
Wow.
that already, you know, that's going to start replacing their jobs. So then there go the bank tellers' jobs because they're getting replaced by machines. We even have one of the malls on the west side of Albuquerque. Their Macy's is closing. Macy's is one of the anchor stores of that mall. They're gone because they're going to be doing, you know, more online stuff. If you'll notice that they promote, a lot of these big stores now are promoting going on to their stores online because it saves them money if they don't have to pay, you know, Lord knows how
Employees.
much that rent must cost to rent the place in the store. So there goes all those workers are now out of work. And then we also have something here. I don't know if it's nationwide, but we have something here called K-12, which enables children to go to school at home, where it's all the way from
Oh,
kindergarten
right. Yeah.
to high school to 12th grade, and you are taught online. So even teaching jobs, because if you think about it, you can teach a lot more people online than you can like in a classroom. A classroom's only going to hold but so many people. The internet holds zillions of people, so you can um, they'll get rid of teachers because they won't need as many teachers anymore. And then even if you think of the big push towards the online college degrees now,
Yeah. Yeah.
where they're teaching stuff online or through automated courses. And so if you take everything into consideration, there's stuff, you know, like the Google cars that they have now, or the Apple cars, even Uber's got them now, the driverless cars that are now automated. I guess you just punch in an address. And if they have those that they're working, you know, the next thing will be trains, buses. There goes all the transit worker jobs. So you have to figure, you know, and I'm not, there's plenty of other robotic jobs and artificial intelligence jobs that I'm not saying. And we have to really take a look at this. And when we add on top of that, and I'm not trying to scare everybody and be all
It's
doom
the
and
truth.
gloom,
That's the facts. That's
this
just the
is
facts.
just
There's no scaring.
reality. It's
Yeah.
just reality that we need to be
Yeah.
prepared for. And, you know, even homes, I did a henna party over the weekend, and they had that thing that Amazon has. I don't remember what the name of it is, but you tell it to do things, and they're like, "Oh, play alternative music from the '90s," and the thing was like, "Okay," and it starts playing music
Yeah. Or
and
they be
things
the
like that.
Cortana or Siri or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I can't think of you know, of the name of whatever it is that they use, but
But yeah,
you have
they've
to.
been advertising it.
It is. It's advertising, and what makes it worse is, and excuse me because my allergies are like in full force right now. What
But
really
you know, I'm gonna kind of say that what makes it worse. I don't know if you were gonna hit this part, but if you look at the grocery stores and even at the banks, what's happening at your bank is not happening here that I know of. But even at our banks, they tell you all they kind of push you towards you can go online and you can go into the machines there and do it, do your deposits, and there would not be such a long line here. Or at the grocery store, they guide you towards they've got the automatic way you can go do it yourself, and they push you towards that. And I'm looking at the people that are working there, and I'm like, do you not realize that the more you push them towards those machines, you're pushing yourself out of a job? And they're doing it. They're like gladly saying, yes, go to the machines. They're
Right.
not even realizing that they're being usurped by these machines. So you're absolutely right. And what the bad part was is that humans are pushing them, and yeah, go towards that machine, not realizing for 1 minute that they may take them off entirely, which is kind of sad. They may, get rid of them and keep them there, keep the machine that they're pushing people towards. Or what's irritating to me is now every time you go to get a phone call to anything, whether it's a service of Metro PCS or I don't know, Metro PCS is pretty good, and so is TD Bank. But a lot of banks, a lot of places you call for services, you have to go through so much machine or mechanical voices that you just, after a while, you kind of go, can I just get a human being, please? I just want to talk to a human being. Just give me, and then you get them. You're like, oh, thank the goddess, I finally found a human being to talk to. It's so irritating because it's feels like if there's no one there to really help your personal thing that you're trying to get taken care of, because they've got it geared towards just about everything. Press this one if you want this, or press the other one if you want that, and no human being there. It's annoying. So go ahead, girl. You got me ranting here.
No, because no, I absolutely cannot stand that. I'm like, you know what? If you just had a human answer the phone, I could probably have had everything resolved in the time it takes for you to say,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about what you want. Press 1 for this, press 2 for this, press 3 for this, and then press that. Okay, well, let's break it down some more. Press 1 for this. And I'm like, just give me somebody. It's like, I have no patience anyway. I can admit that. I work on it. I do try. But I'm just not a naturally patient person. Maybe I'm just not naturally that way. Maybe it's because I'm a born and raised New Yorker. I expect things to be done like this.
Now, the Big Mac face is what I call it.
Being done. And I just, well, anyway, I'm not going to go on a whole tangent about that. The other thing that I was going to add, though, that also concerns me is next year, May of 2018, the planet Uranus goes into Taurus. And it only switches, it takes 8 years for it to switch signs. So it's a once in a lifetime event. It takes 84 years for it to go from your sign and to come back to your sign again. And the last time that Uranus was in Taurus was the Great Depression. So I'm thinking to myself, we've got that thing coming with the automation going on. And I can really see that we may have some real issues in the future if we are not willing to embrace being some sort of professional witch to help you get where you need to be. Now, before we even get into topics about being a professional witch and such like that, let's talk to you out there, those of you who feel that you shouldn't earn money based on your craft.
Yeah.
So first of all, this is no judgment on you. You have the right to believe whatever it is that you want to believe. However, I would like to make you change your perception of that even just a little bit. So let's think about this for a minute. I understand that you believe that you should not use your skills for personal gain. However, I have said this before and I will say this again. Like it or not, everyone is a witch and everyone uses it for personal gain. If you get up in the morning to look for a job and you're saying, I'm going to get that job, and you wear your power suit and your cologne and you go in there with your glamour on and your swagger glam on to get that job, you are casting a spell.
Yes, that's glamour magic.
It's glamour magic. If you decide you got your eye on some dude and you know he's going to be at the club Friday night, so you go put on your freakum dress and your pheromone perfume and doll yourself up with the intention that you're going to get that man or that woman, you have cast a love spell. So you cast magic all the time for personal gain.
That personal gain thing is a charm thing.
That's just ridiculous. And if you looked at Charmed, if you got that from Charmed, you notice they constantly used it for personal gain all the time. They were constantly using it for personal gain. And so you can't say, well, I can't use my magic for personal gain, because technically you do it all the time anyway. If you have to stand up at work and make a presentation in front of other salespeople or as the manager or something, and you put on your manager glam attitude on, and you're standing in front of them, you may normally sit like this, but in front of them you're all like this, and you're going to do this, and this is the way it's going to be. You're projecting power and
Yeah.
authority as the manager of that group. You are casting a spell. You are sending energy out to get people to do what you want them to do.
Right.
And so there is no such thing as not using witchcraft for personal gain.
And I am going to reiterate behind that what she just said, because before Charmed, and I love Charmed, up and down, I love Charmed, but there were some things about it that just did not fit with the real world and witches. But that's where a lot of people got it from, the personal gain, and I hate to tell people this, Goddess Rhonda is right. You do it on a daily basis. So, you kind of either got to face that and move forward from there, and kind of decide, are we basically saying that our worth is absolutely, we're not worth anything? Our talents, our whatever our gifts are, you're basically saying that, because I've had people say literally, well, you were given a gift, so it should be given freely. Well, hello, whatever gift you are, that talent that you have in that regular job that you paid a ton of money for to go and learn, whether it's film school, like Quentin Tarantino is brilliant at producing movies. It just didn't just fall on him. He went and he learned. It cost him a lot of money. All of them. And his talent was, are you saying he's going to say to you, come and watch my movies for free? I don't think so.
No.
Okay? That's his talent. Everybody has a talent, whether you learn that talent or not, or because a lot of times we have gifts innately in us. And all the classes that you take, all it does is bring it out and make it more professional, make you more adept at that talent. That's all it does. It didn't create it out of thin air, kind of a thing. And you paid good money for that. So for having someone look at you and say, and denigrate your talent or your craft and say, give it out for free, you have to wonder where their mind is at, or what planet they're on, or if they're in reality. Because in the real world and reality, that means that everybody out there that's making money from their talents, whatever profession they're in, doctors, lawyers, whatever it is, that means you want them all to give their talents to you for free. There's no such thing in this world. And as I've told people before, if anything, I don't care what it is, anything that you get for free, really for free, it means someone else is paying for it for you.
That's exactly right.
I don't care what you say. When I see people traveling on the bus, and they don't pay because they're like, I'm disabled, and they see me paying and they get upset at me for paying. That means that they're living off of me. My tax money is paying for them to get a ride. Somebody is paying for you. So for you to live off of someone else, I think that's actually more of what I would consider more depreciating of you, or basically saying that, I do not appreciate you at all, because here you are living off of me. And if you think of it in the sense of someone living off of you, you would not appreciate that person at all. As a matter of fact, you will grow to resent them. And that's just reality. So in the sense of us learning our craft to the point where we become so adept at it and so good at it that we can help you or anyone else in the future with it, no one has the right to put a cap on it and say, well, you shouldn't be making any money for it, or you should teach your craft for free, star, which I am sure it's happened and told to you as well, Goddess Rhonda. Mm-hmm. You've been told, your craft should be, so teach us for free, mentor us for free. I'm like, my time, none of that is worth anything to you. So if my time and my gift is not worth anything to you, then why am I here with you? No one's energies and times are just given away for free. That does not exist in the real world. And we have said it many times on our show. When anyone, even in the olden times, they gave something, that chicken, that cow, that whatever it is, they gave something in return. There was an exchange of energies, an exchange of monies or something. No one lives for free like that, unless you're living off of people. That's just my rant for right now. I'm sorry.
No, but no, you know what? No, because
Subject
everything
to me.
you're saying
Yeah,
is
it's a touchy
true.
subject.
You know, just because we were happen to have been born with spiritual gifts doesn't mean that we don't have the right to capitalize from them. You know, Beyonce was born with a beautiful voice. Do you see her singing on the corner for her food because she doesn't want to make money with using her natural gift? You don't see her outside on the corner with a can saying, "Could you give me some change and I'll sing you a song?" No, she makes zillions of dollars off of the gift that was given to her. Professional athletes, Muhammad Ali, LeBron James, they were all born, Venus and Serena, they were all born with extreme athletic gifts. Do they like, well, we're not going to play tennis because, we might make money and we shouldn't have personal gain? I've never understood. And even, a lot of people, I also think, and I've explained this to other people before, a lot of people who, before they became witches, they might have been Christians first. And
You're right.
Christian churches would love for you to believe that Jesus was slogging through the desert with no food and no anything, which is a load of shit. They did not necessarily have a lot of money back then, but he was taken in wherever he went. He was cared for. He was fed. He was given food. He was given shelter. He was treated well until the other idiots got to him. But as he was going about his mission, and he went from town to town, and that's something that used to be done a long time ago with traveling ministers. They would go from town to town, and people in the town would take them in and feed them and clean them and clothe them. So even Christ was not some poor man slogging through the desert, just starving half to death and giving his gifts away for free. Maybe no one wrote him a check. They didn't have checks back then. They took care of him, or they brought him food, or they did something
They
to help
traded.
him.
Yeah.
So it's time to let go. And I'm not telling you what you have to do again. You have a right to believe whatever it is that you want to believe and rock on. But we're hoping that we can change your perception to believe now that there is no such thing as not using your skills for personal gain, no matter what they are. And so you might as well get ready, because we may have to fall back on those old ways and be those town witches that people bought a bag of apples to, or a bucket of eggs, or something, in order to pay us for helping them out. And there's also another thing going on here, and everyone who watches the show should know by now that I am a huge conspiracy theorist. I love conspiracy, and I believe in them. And so I heard over the weekend, and I just pulled up the link, and I'll put it in our chat room here, that this man, I don't know if I'm saying his first name, Elon, I think that's how you say his first name. His name is Elon Musk. He's a tech billionaire and a
Okay.
SpaceX founder. He wants to, now get this, he wants to colonize Mars with 1 million people in an effort to protect humanity from certain doom by 2022. Okay, maybe I'm not a scientist, but I know that they must have already started working on this, because there is
Yeah.
no way in hell
Yeah.
that 2022 is 5 years away. I'm guessing it takes some time to get to Mars, set up all your oxygen machines and things like that to make sure that 1 million people can survive. And so they probably already started working on this many years ago, which is where lots of our money is going. But
Right.
also, if he's afraid he wants to save people from certain doom, then there's something they're not telling us. If he feels that in 5 years we need to get the hell out of here, I'm wondering, well, what is it that what's the certain doom? Can we talk about the certain doom so that we're ready for it too? Are you guys just going to leave us down here? And that could happen. The rich people could say, you know what? There's not enough stuff down here. There's not enough resources anymore. And off we go to Mars, and good luck to the rest of you. That makes me very suspicious. If you're planning to colonize Mars with 1 million people, that's something you might take 20 years to plan, at least 10. And he's
Yeah.
going to do it in 5, which means they've already started and they're not telling us stuff. And
Right.
so you have to take all of these things into consideration when you think about what's coming up for our future. And we very well may have to go back to our old ways of using our skills for bartering or surviving or doing whatever it is that we have to do. And so we're going to now, with all that said, and if you have any opinions, by all means, please put them in our chat room. I see we've already got a lot going on in here, so let me just...
Yeah. Before you go on even further, I am going to go find a link to this because it's so interesting that you said that. I did not know about this Elon whomever, Musk or whatever, but what was that gentleman's name? He was the vice president, I think it was two presidents ago or president or so ago, Cole or Dole, Al Gore.
Al Gore.
Right. He first did The Inconvenience Truth, right? Now he's done a sequel called Inconvenience Truth and something else that he added to it. And at the end of the whole thing that he did, at the end it went from the EPA and the whole thing with the Paris and all everyone for the first time in the world, all the countries putting this the world first kind of a thing to save the planet Earth. And at the end, he said an interesting thing that kind of goes in hand with Elon Musk and what he's saying. He said, don't let anyone fool you and think we can just go to Mars and leave this planet alone. He said, because this is our world and we have to make sure we can hold on to it. He said those exact words. So when you were saying that about Elon Musk, I think that's his way of telling us that, like that whole conspiracy theory again, I think it's his way of saying they've already planned something like that already. Yes. He said, don't let people tell you that nonsense. He said, don't let them fool you into thinking that's okay to do. And he said that, and I said, I'm going to go, unless you guys can look it up yourself on Google Hangouts, on YouTube. It's called the sequel, The Inconvenience Truth. And it's interesting. It makes you sit back and think. So I'm kind of following up on that whole conspiracy theory of yours. So let's go ahead, girlfriend.
All right. Let's put the article in the chat room for anyone who's interested in looking at it later on to read that, because you just don't colonize a planet with 1 million people in 5 years.
Yeah,
that's something that they've been doing for quite some time now. You know, maybe sneaking stuff off into outer space without telling us about it. So we have some real concerns here. So I think we've explained what our concerns are. So now we're going to get into what can you do to make money or to survive, but not necessarily make money, because we may have to go back into a barter system, you know, where you trade a basket of eggs for bath salts or something like that. And so we're going to go into some areas where you can go ahead and make money, or at least have something to survive on. All right, so the first thing that I have here, excuse me once again, I apologize. My throat's a little scratchy from my allergies. All right, so what professional witches can do to earn money. All right, so one of the things that I have here is to become an astrologer, because we're using things where you don't need machinery. Now, of course, there's tons of software where you can do astrological charts, but it's not that hard to learn how to write out the chart yourself and just do it yourself. So there's a lot of things that you can do with astrology. One, you can help people by plotting out their lives based on the planets, telling them what's coming up and then what they can do magically or otherwise in order to help to either enhance the good things that are coming through their planetary transits, or to defend them or mitigate any adverse energies that are coming. And you can break it down. You can do financial astrology for people. You know, there are professional financial astrologers that will help you with just, all they talk about is how to get your money up. There are health astrologers. And then if you study astrology, you can also become a planetary magician, witch, light worker, however you term yourself. We'll call yourself a planetary witch for this, or priestess or priest for the show. And you would be able to help people by looking up the auspicious times and dates for them, depending on what they want. So you can even help other witches. Let's say a witch comes to you and says, listen, I need to know, I've got this great prosperity spell that I'm going to cast. I already have everything I need for my spell. I need to know when to do it. So you could say, well, you know, like just for, just as an example, yesterday at 10:17 a.m., Jupiter trined Venus, Jupiter trined the sun, excuse me, Jupiter trined the sun at exactly 10:17 a.m. Mountain Time yesterday. The Jupiter trine the sun energy is one of the most powerful good luck, blessings, money, whatever it is that you want, health, energies that there is. So I cast a spell at exactly 10:17 to incorporate those energies because it's an auspicious time. Now that doesn't mean if I did my spell, you know, later on that day, it wouldn't work. It's just that by using it at this particular time, it enhances it, makes it work faster and stronger. So you can help other witches if they say, I need this or I need that. You can say, okay, here's the day and time that you need to do that. And you can do that either through just the transits that are happening that day or through their custom chart. You know, anybody who has watched any of my ceremonies knows that I pull in whatever transits are going on that day or that particular time, the planetary hour, the gods and goddesses that match along with them. I'm calling in a lot of people and using a lot of energies because I use a lot of planetary and auspicious times. So I see what transits are going on that day and how I can capitalize or how we can capitalize on them. And I use those days and times to promote whatever it is that go along with what it is what we're trying to achieve as a group. And so you can do that. Or if you have the person's birth time, you can do a custom thing for them based strictly on their chart. You can do realization astrology or self-realization astrology, which don't bother looking up self-realization astrology because I'm just using that. But basically what that means is if you know what your rising sign is, we have our sun sign, our moon sign, and our rising or ascendant. Your ascendant or rising sign is who it is you're supposed to become in this lifetime. So even though my sun sign is Pisces, my rising sign is Leo. It means in this lifetime, I'm supposed to be a leader of some sort. And so I'm supposed to step into my Leo. You can help people who are trying to realize what it is they are supposed to become by looking up what their ascendant is and then giving them auspicious times and spells and things to help them to realize who it is they are supposed to become in this lifetime. Or if you meet people, they want to be a movie star, a politician, a lawyer, you can help them with that too by telling them when's the best time to do it, what herbs and things that will work along with what their astrological chart is or with whatever the planetary charts are. I had a friend who had a daughter who was 18 and she wanted to break into show business and modeling. And so I set up a spell for her that I made her do. I walked her through it every day because she didn't know what she was doing. So every day I would call her up and we walked through it. And within a week, she was already getting modeling and acting jobs, which is like unheard of. We live in Albuquerque, not New York City. And she was already getting jobs. And so you can help people if they want to become a professional musician or an artist or something like that. You can help them to do that. If they wanted to start a business, you can tell them what would be the best time and way to do that. Or if they want to become pregnant, you can tell them that. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with that. And the extra added benefits to that is as you learn the planets and the transits, you develop a relationship with the gods and goddesses that they represent. And so that actually will help to boost you up because then the more you promote those particular gods and goddesses, the more you get into their good favor as well. Because when we appeal to their planetary aspects, we're making offerings and things like that. So there's a lot to astrology that you can do, and you would be able to do it sitting at your kitchen table, and you can help people to succeed. You can help people to become fertile. You can help them to become movie stars or politicians or lawyers. You can help them to understand who they are and what they're supposed to be doing in life. There's a lot that you can do with that. So that's one of the things that you can, if you want to, consider studying and become adept at so that you can make a living of some sort from that. So that's my first tip. What is your first tip, Goddess Star?
Oh my goodness, that was like such a big one with the astrology. I don't know. Am I? Let me check and make sure that I'm not on, because I am hearing. Nope, mine is on mute. But I'm hearing. You know what I mean? I'm hearing that feedback a bit. Okay. So my one that I and actually that was so brilliantly done with the astrology, because I had a friend of mine do a charting on mine that literally took her from my past into. She said, you're actually following your past, where it began, and here you have to continue with that leadership and all the things. And I was like, but I didn't even want to do this. And she said, nope, sorry, it's right here. It says you're supposed to be doing that. And she kind of showed me. So I'm not big on astrology, but I'm learning through you and other people that I'm learning from. One of the things I have to say is, before I go off into the one which is tarot reading that I'm going to mention to you guys, all of the things that we are mentioning, I would suggest to everyone, learn them all if you can, because you don't know which one you're going to be utilizing. You don't know if you might bring them all into play at some point or anything like that. So trying to learn them all as much as you can is a good thing that you should try to do. So my own is on the tarot readings. And along with doing the tarot readings or the oracle readings, whatever you want to call it with that, that's something that I think that you should become very adept at. Learn it so well that you can do even, there are chartings with readings that you can do that, like astrology, coming through from the past into the present and into the future. You can do from a full chart of astrological charting for people with readings. You can do, and I mean, literally setting it up like you would a complete astrological housing and everything, all 12 houses. You can do the seasonal, whether it's a summer, winter, fall, all of that. You can do, literally, I have done from a 3-card reading to a big astrological card reading. It depends on what it is that your person needs to have done. So learn as many spreads as you can, for depending on the situation for each person. You can do spells with each one. Literally, you can do spells or candle spells or anything like that that intertwines with the tarot readings that can also assist the person once you have charted their readings for them. Once you have done the readings for them, you can then take it into, as I would call it, tarot spells or different things like that. We mentioned, I think, on one of our shows, Janine, what's her name?
Renee.
Yeah, right. With that she did the complete book on tarot spells. It's really interesting because all the different type of spells that you can do with that, that's all part of your work that you can work with people. So you're not just reading their cards, you can then assist them with different spell work that would help in one form or another. Some of it has even been done for healing, guiding them in what to use and what to work with, what herbs and oils and incense, all the different things to help people to, almost like similar to the astrology. Just about each one of the divination techniques and different things that you can become adept at, you can do all of the things that we are suggesting from the astrology or from the tarot readings. So it is something that I think that we should all pick up as we go, because we have that innate talent. You know, we may all, like, say for instance, I'm a kind of a Jill of all trades. I kind of touch on everything, and then there are certain things that I go off on even more, because that's just, I guess, more gift that I have there. Because I'm that type of person. I want to always keep learning, and I always want to learn everything out there, because I just want to know. There's no harm in wanting to know something, and if it gets to be something that you really like, then get really adept at it. Learn it so well that you know it inside out. You can teach it. You can, all of the ones that we're mentioning here, you can learn it enough where you're teaching it. You can help people, again, with spell work or anything at all that you're trying to do with it. And I've actually, one of our students from, what was it, today's Monday, yesterday, at class, she said that for many years, she's been practicing her tarot readings via her books. And here we are teaching her it without the books, and how to be intuitive about it and all the different things. And we actually and I'm sure Goddess Rhonda does too, can guarantee you that you can read by the time you're done taking these classes.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and they get so good at it just from a few classes, knowing it without the book. You know, so it's a lot of these things that if you become adept at it and you become away from the books, away from whatever it is, so that you can start using your talent, your latent talent or your gift or whatever it is, so that you can take it forward for yourself. That talent can become useful in whatever that world that is coming, you know, that you can help. And as you're helping people, it helps you as well. Whether we're dealing, like Goddess Rhonda said, with money still, or maybe we are back to the barter system because that's how we're living and surviving. I have no idea what it's going to be, but at least work with your talents and make it work for you. Okay? And that's my tip on that one regarding the tarot readings. What's yours next?
Well, I just want to with the not using the book. You know, I no book. Don't pick it. I believe that truly psychic people don't need a book. And so if someone, you know, just because you're reading the card a certain way that doesn't what the book said, first of all, and I hate to go on a rant, but I'm just going to say this one thing. I won't rant about it, I promise. Is that I don't do reverse cards because reverse cards were not a part of the original tarot system. Someone decided to make that up, and I'm old school.
Yeah.
And so I just believe that if you are psychic, which I know that you are, if you're a witch, you automatically are. You do not need a book. And I've taken people from knowing Jack to professional readers where they're making money now and no book. So I also wanted to, just in case for those of you who wanted to know about, I wanted to flash again the book that Goddess Star was talking about.
Yay, great book.
Tarot Spells by Janina Renee. And what's interesting is I was going to like show you an example, and I just opened, you know, I was flipping through and I just opened to this page. And this was great. And I think it's really apropos to what we're talking about is, I guess it's spell 24 on page 89 for those of you who already have this
and
book.
I got mine. Remember, I forgot I went and I got mine and found out I had it already. I'm so silly.
Yes, you have yours already. And okay, so the spell I opened up to is for help in adjusting to a difficult or traumatic change of circumstances. And that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. So she's got, you know, her layout and how she's got it in a certain order for the spell. She's got the Wheel of Fortune, the Magician, and the World card. And this spell is designed to help ease the process of transition for a person who must make a difficult readjustment. So if you've lost your job or something going on, you can automatically go to this spell, and it gives the meditation, it gives the affirmation, it gives the visualization, plus you have your vision board of those cards. And so, but you would be able to do this for other people. You could cast tarot spells for them because not every witch casts spells. Not every witch is comfortable with it. So maybe, you know, they could give you some of their famous lemon refreshing bath salts and mist, and you can cast a spell for them in return. So this is, I just wanted to just kind of also expand on what Goddess Star was saying along with
Yeah. She has wonderful spells, and there's so many
great spells, and they're easy. Then you don't have to put a lot of effort into it, and they're nice.
And I have to say, one of the reasons I also, along with I've worked well with her spells with the people, and they've worked really well for them. She was one of the first people that I knew of that wrote the first books on tarot spells. Now there's a whole bunch, and I'm not taking that away from them. I'm just saying, I'm like you, Goddess Ron. I'm very old school. If someone put out something first and their ideas for it and everything, and now you see other people following through with it, it's kind of, you know, I'm kind of going with the old school first person that was there with it. And her team's work, you know. So I'm gonna say hi to her for that, because she, you know, and really kind of thumbs up for that, because she does a great job with it. All right. Yeah.
All right. So moving on with our next thing that I have here.
Let me check the chat room and see if anyone.
Oh, go ahead. Let's do that first before I launch into the next thing. See if anybody. I saw that there were people saying quite a bit in there, and then I got sidetracked.
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
to scroll up.
Okay. No, most people seem, and not many, I'm not seeing much of what they're saying.
Well, I've got no school like the old school, which is Nate, and he says, this is Nate. First of all,
Oh,
I
yeah.
got to say, this topic gets me really riled. This automation, transhumanism
I didn't
projected
see that. I'm
that
not seeing.
mankind has steered towards has been planned for a long time. Absolutely, I agree. Mystic Crone says 100%. You see it happening all around us. Nate says it is not accidental, and it is not simply evolution. It's to put us all in a slave medieval serfdom where corporations replace governments. Absolutely. Can I?
Yeah.
Let me just give you
Yeah,
a
that's a great, yeah, very good,
for
Nate.
that.
Very, very good. Yeah.
Awesome,
For
awesome,
some
awesome.
reason, I'm not seeing all of that, so I'm glad you saw it.
And it says also that Nate goes on to say that Facebook is already developing software to be implanted that lets you interface with social media without the use of external devices. Oh my goodness, that's just nuts. That just actually gave me a chill. All of this is widely available to openly research. It's not sci-fi or a conspiracy theory, it's transhumanism, which Mr. Crone all agrees with. And as we go down, let's see. We've got quite a few people agreeing. We've got Mr. Crone, AK Intation. I hope I said that correctly. Please forgive me. We've got Latanya agreeing with everything here. And
Oh, there,
so,
I see it now. I see it now. Okay. It's way
and
up there. I missed it.
Nova Cynthia Barker, who says, yes, these are holistic ways that work with us. So, work for us. So,
Yeah.
with that said, we're going to now talk about our next thing that you could consider doing. And one thing that we witches are, we are also natural. We're healers. We like to heal
Yeah.
people. We like to heal plants. We love to heal animals. There are so many specialties that you can do with healing. You can be an animal Reiki healer, a plant Reiki healer, um, a person Reiki healer. If you don't do Reiki, there are many other forms of alternative energy work that you can do on people. You can do aura healing. You know, a lot of people, they go and they get their chakras balanced, but very few people um, will go in and get their auras clean and balanced. That's something that I personally specialize in, because your
Hmm.
aura is your first line of defense. It's the first 7 bodies in front of you that, and if
Right.
it's muddy like a window, your energy is going to be jacked and you're going to be exhausted and energy can't get in. So you can
Right.
become an aura worker. You can become an aura color worker or a color therapist. I do a lot of color therapies with my clients, choosing the colors that make them feel wealthy or make them feel peaceful or what will counter whatever it is that they are trying to overcome. So you can do color therapies. You can focus on the chakras and the healing. So let's just say, for example, someone is having a health problem. Well, the different chakras represent different issues. So, for example, if someone is having an issue with their adrenal glands or their spine or their intestines, that's a root chakra issue. So you could, if they're having that problem and they're getting medical care for it, you can enhance their healing by doing work on their root chakra. We've got kidneys, liver, bladder, sexual organs all go with our sacral or our groin
Right.
chakra that you can work on. The solar plexus is the excretory organs, the abdominal organs. We've got the heart behind them. We've got lungs, the heart and the circulation system, our throat chakra. We've got the thyroid here, the third eye. We've got the pituitary gland. We've got eyes, the pineal gland, the crown. We've got the brain. So if people are having medical, physical problems, you can let the doctors handle the physical and you can take care of them on their energetic level. Now, also, if they're having energy blockages or blockages where they can't get things done, let's just say that they're trying to write a book or they're trying to create something in their lives and they're stuck and they just can't do it or they just can't get it done. You could do work on their groin chakra because that is the center of our creativity. It's not just about creating a baby, it's about creating the kind of life that you want, or creation in general. So you can work on that for them. If they need to get something done and they're scared, you could work on their solar plexus, our force of will. There are so many ways and so many specialties and subspecialties that you can work on, because you want to set yourself apart from the rest. Right now, there are a million Reiki healers out there in the world, but you want to have a specialty. You know, one of my specialties, I work on empaths all the time because they have special needs. And so I work on them, and off the air they come to me, or I train them and things like that. And so there's so many alternative healings that you can do on people just to help them if they're suffering from attention deficit or they just can't keep still. Well, you know, that could just be because they've got an overload of irritable energy that's surrounding them. You know, one of the things, and I talk to my clients about this, about how they can get overwrought or anxious, even though they're like, well, I'm doing work on myself, you know, I do this, or I get acupuncture and I do that. And I say, well, okay, that's good, but what are you doing in your home to fix the issue? And they'll just look at me and I'll say, well, let's think about this for a minute. When you are in your home, everyone has their favorite kitchen chair, or they have their favorite place on the couch that they sit in. That's their spot that they sit in, or their recliner, or whatever it is. And all of these things that you sit upon or lay upon, including your bed, are all receptive pieces of furniture. And so let's just say you hate your job and you're coming home every single day and you flop down on your recliner or your couch or your chair and like, I hate my job and blah, blah, blah. And you're talking to your girlfriend, yep, I hate my job and blah, blah, blah. Yep, I hate this and blah, blah, blah. That energy is going into your furniture. So you can do all the work you want. You can go to an energy healer and get yourself cleaned up. And if you go home and flop yourself right back down in that chair, it's like you go and you're sitting in dirty bath water. And you have now disengaged all that energy. And then you get up and you get into bed and you climb into that same anxious or depressed energy again that gets to take over while you're sleeping. And so there are other things that need to be healed besides the physical body and the energetic body. You also need to heal the energy in your home, which is something that my book talks about, is fixing the furnitures and all the other things that are holding those adverse energies. Because you could come to me and I could clean you up and you could leave me feeling like a new woman. And then you go home and you flop down in that chair with that same old, tired, anxious, depressed energy. And then here you go again, reinfecting yourselves. You know, you wouldn't go to the doctor if you had a nasty cut on your arm and he cleans it out and he sews it up and he bandages you. You don't go home and then take the bandage off and roll it around in dirt and germs. Of course not. But that's what we do energetically. We'll go to somebody and we'll get ourselves all cleaned up and shiny and new. Our souls are all shiny and new and our energy is all shiny and new. And then we go right back into that energetically compromised energy and we flop right back into it. And then we're wondering like, well, I felt good yesterday, but now I don't feel so good. So even incorporating doing the energy, and I tell all of my clients, you know what, I can fix you up, but we might want to consider doing your home as well. And I do, that's also a big part of my business, is clearing homes out as well with all of this. And I clear everything from top to bottom. And so these are also things that you can do as a specialty to make some money. You can heal people. There are people, I have a student, a Reiki student now, because I teach Reiki, who is going to focus her specialty on animals because she just loves animals so much. And I've already got her a gig. She's going to do a presentation on doing Reiki on dogs and other animals to get them energetically cleaned up. I do energy work on my cats all the time because my animals are empaths as well. And so I have a lot of people that come through here, different clients, healing clients, psychic reading clients, people learning to be witches client. Every kind of client comes through here, and everybody likes to pet my cats. And so I have to get that energy off of them all the time. And so you could specialize. If you don't want to deal with people, no problem. You can specialize in animals. You know, there are people, true animal lovers will do anything for their pets, anything. And if you can offer a way to heal their horse or their dog or their bird or their mouse or their lizard or whatever it is, their spider, whatever it is that they have, you can actually make a decent living doing that if you get yourself out there and establish yourself as an expert in your field. You know, you don't just have, because not everybody wants to be around people. I know empaths have a hard time touching other people. I can dig that. You can go with animals. You can become a plant Reiki healer for trees or plants, or to go and send energy into somebody's vegetable garden so it grows better. There are so many ways. You have to really, when you think about whatever it is that you choose to study and what it is that you want to do, make sure that you are thinking outside the box, because you want to stand out from the other people that do your work. So break it down and say, okay, I love to heal, but I don't want to touch people. Go with animals, go with plants. You know, if you want to do clearings, become a corporate business clearer. I clear businesses here in Albuquerque of energies and things like that. It's very lucrative business. You can go and clear energies out of stores that are having a hard time getting business because they've got some bad mojo or bad energy or whatever the hell's going on in there. You can clear homes, you can clear corporations, you can clear all kinds of things. I even had to clear people's cars because their cars got infected with
Yeah.
different energies and things like that. So you want to also think about no limits. How can you be limitless in what it is that you're trying to do, so that you can offer a whole host, a whole menu of things,
Of
like my
things. Yeah.
business card. On my business card, I don't know how many people you guys can see this. I'm going to try to hold it a little closer. I put my whole menu of everything that I do on my business card. I don't just say, hey, Rhonda, professional witch, or anything like that. I've got my psychic services, I've got my henna services, and I list them all out. The psychic readings, I do tarot, I do tea leaves, crystal ball, energy, empath, palmistry, intuitive readings. I got that all in this little card. My intention and glamour henna, I put spells into henna. My metaphysical training, psychic empath healing, Reiki, intention manifestation, all of my healing services, past life regression, all of the stuff, cord removals, color washings, house cleansings. I put all of my stuff here so that people can say, oh, look at all these things that she does, and they can pick one like a menu. So it's good to always think outside the, how can you be limitless in
Yeah.
what you're going to try to do? You can heal people, but what else can you heal? There's lots
Yeah.
of other things that you can heal. And so you can
Absolutely.
become a spiritual healer in many, many, many different modalities. Some people are crystal healers. There's the husband, Mitch's husband at the Blue Eagle that I work at on Thursdays doing my readings out of. His husband does fluorite healings, just using fluorite crystals, which balances the body, mind, and spirit. So he's created this healing modality where he uses various fluorites in order to do a healing that way. People have given him really good reviews, and he's just doing fluorite healings to balance the body, mind, and spirit. And that's not something you see here. You don't see anybody offering fluorite healings. You could do
Right.
crystal healings. You could do an intention healing where if the person wants to have the money, have the energy to bring wealth into their lives, you could surround them with peridot or aventurines and things like that on certain areas of their body to help to bring that energy into them. So you could do crystal healing. Other people are very, very good with herbs and plants. They make potions and tinctures and things like that. So you could use, you could make potions and tinctures to drink. I rely very heavily. I have Lyme disease, and you've heard Goddess Star talk about her lupus. I talk about my Lyme disease, which I also bring up because I know that there are people out there who are suffering from physical challenges, and it's probably going to be even more important for you to learn a skill, because I tell you, when you have a physical challenge, it's not that
You
easy
know
to get it
about it.
done.
Yeah.
People judge you when you've got a physical issue. And not only has my Lyme disease affected all of my joints, I have brain damage from it. I have like no memory. I have to, if it's not on my calendar, I have a hard time because of the Lyme disease attacking my brain. But still, I don't use that as an excuse for is why I was just telling Goddess Star when we got started. She's like, "How are you feeling?" I'm like, "Well, my joints and this and that." But you know what? I don't have time to even be
Yeah, don't
so
have time to be
tired.
sick. Don't have time to be
There's no
sick.
time. There's no time for that. And so not only would you get the benefit of healing other people or plants or whatever it is you choose to heal, you also learn how to take care of yourself. I take a lot of herbal remedies to help me. I drink lots of different teas and things like that because I don't particularly care for um, prescription medicine. I just don't, my body is very sensitive. I have a lot of Neptune and it makes me sensitive to that. And I prefer natural healing things. And one of the things that I find very healing is Goddess Star's hot sauce. No, seriously, no, seriously. Not
No,
only
but you're right. I use it every day. I can't help it. I'm like literally taking the bottle and I'm doing like that,
no, I'm really serious
and it
about it.
works. It actually works.
I'm really
It
serious
works on
about
many
this.
levels. It actually works not just healing wise in the body, but people have been using it for protection spells, and it works like hell.
It works,
I'm like, it works. So
but
if something works,
have
it is.
physical. It's like one of my things with my Lyme disease. I get cold a lot. Like I mean, bone cold. I'll get bone cold. And I eat Goddess Star's hot sauce, which is, first of all, it's delicious. First of all, I personally call it liquid crack because if you just take
Oh
one taste of it, it's like, that's it. You're ready to kill somebody for it. It's like, where is Goddess Star's hot sauce? I must have it immediately. But I bring up her hot sauce because it is the perfect example of her using a skill or a craft to create something from a natural source that is healing, it's healthy, it's protective, and she can sell it or trade it or do something with it in order to help to support her and her family. And so if you happen to have that gift of mixing things or cooking, you're a really good cook, you can create intention foods for people that if they
Yeah,
eat, herbs represent different things and different properties. And so you could choose the herbs that would represent what someone is looking to do, and you can make them a tea from it, or you can make them a spice, like a condiment that you can shake on food that can help to promote whatever it is that they're trying to do in their lives. You can become a witch cook and you can cook meals for people, or a magical chef where you're actually cooking charmed foods for people that will bring them good health or prosperity or whatever it is that they're looking for. There's a lot of things that you can do as a healer that goes beyond just doing, Reiki healing or things like that. There's specialties, there's subspecialties. And people, if people have no money to go to the doctor, then maybe they can come to you. And if they have to trade you a basket of eggs for a healing, if it comes down to the barter system, or, if they happen to have money, they can pay you money. But there are just so many things that you can do as a healer. You can just focus
yeah,
on people with arthritis and what they can do with that, what herbs they should take, what they should drink. You can put the energy in. You can teach
yeah,
people how to heal themselves. There are so many things that you can
yeah.
do as
That
a healer.
actually, as you mentioned, for the arthritis, because of the lupus that I have, I ended up creating a particular oil that I've used even when I was at the hospital after my knee surgery and working with my lupus, and to the point where one of the doctors took my information and he orders the oil from me and he uses it on his patients. He says that it works so well with his patients because he saw me doing it on my joints and everything when I was in the hospital. So there was, and I
Got a star. Got a star. I'm not sure if Got a star is frozen or I'm frozen. So I'm going to wait a second. I'm going to see if I can tell from the other.
they say.
Oh, there she
Um,
is. I lost you for
80 SPF. 80 SPF is mine. And it's all naturally, all essential oils and herbs. That's all it is, nothing else in it, nothing. And I made those I made that's part of my healing with the people. I do my own shampoo, conditioner, skin cream, everything I do. My own lotions, and all because of the fact that my skin reacts to things that are commercially out there. The chemical in it burns my skin. It burns my skin. So I started creating my own things out of necessity for myself, and now I've turned it into where I have lots of customers that they have different ailments, eczema, or, psoriasis, all the different things, and it works for them. So, you can take your talents, like Goddess Rhonda said, and make it into something that works for you. There's also, along with the healing and the clearing that Goddess Rhonda mentioned, I even do it for people when it comes to sex. People don't think about that. When you have a person, even if it's your true partner, they come from a long day of all the different things that are happening to them, and they come home, they're having sex with you, they unload inside of you and all the different things with each other. They leave all energized because they've grabbed all your energy from you, and you're the one that's laying there not in the best of health, because now you're like lethargic and lost energy and all the different things. All of that, they have said, literally, I forgot the name of the enzymes that occurs of when it's like literally dumping garbage on you, literally. And they have all of that with the cleansing and the clearing, working with your body, like Goddess Rhonda had said earlier. Along with the Reiki, you can work on different herbs and oils that would help, especially the herbal teas that you can make to help cleanse the body of all of that. Some people have even gone through stages of where they said for 6 months they went through complete cleansing of the body before they even had any more sexual activity. It depends on the person, and each situation is different. So there's that. There's the clearing and cleansing of that. When I also do what I call past life healing and removal from people, or revocation rituals. Certain rituals that I do, when they draw things and the revoking of things from your past contracts and all the different things. So we've talked about that in a couple of other shows that we've had before.
Right.
When you do the rituals for that, a lot of people don't realize that you have to also clear the home, because when we are standing in your home and doing all this revoking of everything, we release it out. We pull it out from you. It enters your home. You have to do a cleansing there too. You have to do a whole clearing of the home, just like Goddess Rhonda said that she's done with other people. There's a whole clearing of that as well. Whether you're removing a curse for someone or a hex or whatever it is that you're removing to help a person feel better, move on from there, go on beyond whatever it is that they're going through, all of that you have to clear and cleanse from your home, from your body, from everywhere, and all of that affects your health in one form or another. So working on all of that is all part of the whole health code and the whole health situation and healing. You can even go from not just magically doing that as well, because a lot of pagans do not feel comfortable, or witches do not feel comfortable going even for regular counseling, mental health counseling or different things with regular people, because they feel like they don't, or regular therapists, because they feel like they don't understand them.
That's very
So
true.
maybe you can also become certified in some sort of a mental health counseling, or a mental health addictions and different things that you can help people with, because there is a market for it. Because I've had people say to me, is that person very pagan oriented, or are they open to us being a certain way, or different things like that? And you have to, so one of the things I did was I got my certification with it. I wanted to make sure that I can do all of these things to help. As I went along, I saw the need for it. And as we go along, and you would hear us say all the time, Goddess Rhonda and I talking about learning. We want to keep learning. We don't just stop. And I've always said a wise witch does not stop learning. They keep learning at all time. And yes, it costs money. Learning costs money. It is what it is. But also in the long run, you will have that gift, that knowledge that you can take and add to your list of skills that you are doing to help people. There is a long list of all of that, whether it's the healing physically, the herbs that you use to help them from either mental illness or physical illnesses. And because, again, of our different diseases that we're dealing with, we've had to learn to come up with things that help ourselves. So if we're learning to do things to help ourselves, then we learn along the way I've had people ask me for a concoction, a mixture for diabetes, and I've helped them with that. Different ones that I research, and I said, and again, I am not a doctor, and I let them know that these are natural herbs you can drink as a tea, and it helps with those things. And they said it works for them. You know, you're not saying that you should go out and become a PhD or anything like that. If that's what you choose to be and that's your gift, then more power to you.
Right.
Um, you know, but I'm just saying that your mind, it should, like Goddess Rhonda said earlier, really make it limitless. Your mind should be open to what can I not do, not what I can do, because most of everything you can do. We can work on things like that. And I do um, so many removals and revocations of past life contracts, which seems to affect a lot of people now with a lot of what's going on in their present day life. So there are so many choices of maybe you're specializing in a particular thing, like Goddess Rhonda's friend that does the fluorite, working with the fluorites only. Maybe you'll specialize in just a particular thing, or maybe you'll just leave yourself open. That's what I do anyways. I open myself up to so many things. I don't know. If I don't know how to do something, I will make sure that I learn it enough that I can go and help that person with it. That's what you should be doing. Learn. If a client come to you and you cannot help them right now with that, go and learn it, so that in the future, when they do come to you again, you can say, you know what, I know how to help you with that particular thing now. Do not limit yourself to any particular thing, and open your mind up to as many things as you can do. As people ask you to help them with a particular thing, and you've never heard of it before, now you've got another thing that you've got to learn, another thing that you have to open your mind to. So do not limit yourself in any way. There are so many choices that we have to do. And, you know, coming back a little bit back to the divination part, we mentioned the tarot and the astrology, the palmistry. There is the tea leaf reading, I think Goddess Rhonda mentioned. There are so many things that you can do. There are even people who do the rune reading. There are so many different types of divination that you can do to help and work with people, depending on what they're like or what your gift or talent go towards. One of the things that as we go on, we have a tendency, a lot of us that are priestesses, as we go on, we become reverent. And as a reverend, you open yourself up to a whole lot of other things there too. Now you're doing the hand fastings, and you're doing a whole bunch of other things that reverends do. I don't want to say all the list because I would love to have Goddess Rhonda say some of them herself. Because, there is a long list that we do as a licensed reverend. And a lot of us are becoming licensed reverends, and we're able to help people outside of our certification that I go and got, mental health counseling certification. And then I'm helping you magically. And I'm also, as a reverend, I'm open to that as well. And I'm doing the house blessings and the baby blessings. There's a number of things that you can open yourself up to, and you charge a nominal fee for that. Or if it comes to the bartering in the future, as long as everyone agrees with the payment,
Right.
You go from there, because you have to agree. Because you're not going to come to me and offer me a trade of something that I'm not willing to accept, because that's not what I'm willing to trade for. You know what I mean? We both have to be agreeable to it, and then we go from there. But there are such an unlimited amount of avenues that you can take as a wedge. And just from the get-go, do not limit yourself. That's the main thing, because the minute you limit yourself, that means she's a tarot reader, and that's all. When we know that there's so much more there. All right? What do you think, Goddess Rhonda?
I think you're right. I want to also reiterate about clearing out the sacral and the groin chakra from sexual abuse and energy, because I have a lot of sexual abuse victims. In fact,
I forgot about that. There you go.
Me and a couple of my Reiki students are volunteering. We're trying to start a ministry to go into the battered women's shelters to do Reiki on them once or twice a month. And I was explaining to the director of one of the local shelters here the importance of getting that old sexual energy out of them.
There you go.
I'm not trying, without trying to be graphic, But a lot of domestic violence survivors have been raped by their partners. And that horrible energy is still in there, and it has to be cleaned out. So that's a very important part of my practice, as is the past life. I want to tell you a funny past life thing, because as I'm working on you on my table, I see what happened to you in your past life, if that's what's causing you the issue now, or what happened to you when you were younger. And one of my favorite stories is I had a lady up on my table, and keeping in mind, I see things, they translate to me. It might not make sense to me when I see it, but I make a mental note to discuss it later with the client, so I know, so I can explain to them what happened and they can make the connection. So I was working on this lady, and as I was working on her heart chakra, this spiritual, like, horse's head literally stuck its head out of her heart chakra. It startled me, and so I pulled this horse out of her heart chakra, and I send everything into the light so it doesn't hang around. I send everything into the light to be healed. And I'm like, how am I going to tell this woman that I pulled a horse out of her heart chakra? She's going to think I'm crazy, but
Yeah.
I have to tell the client what I saw, because it might not make any sense to me, but it always makes sense to them. So when I was finished with her, I was going over my findings and things that came out and things that got released out of her. And I said, I know how this is going to sound, but when I was working on your heart chakra, this horse's head stuck its head out, and I pulled this horse out of your chest. And I don't know what that's from, but I have to tell you that that's what I saw. And she goes, I know exactly what that's from. When she was a little girl, her parents used to force her to take horseback riding lessons, and she was petrified of horses. So it was a horrible trauma for her. Every time she had to get up on that horse, and her parents didn't care that she was scared. They just wanted her to be a horse rider. And so she used to dread having to go. She was petrified of the horses. She felt betrayed by her parents. And all of that had been stuck in her heart chakra for over 50 years.
Wow.
Until I pulled it out. And she's like, she felt like she could breathe. She felt much better. But you never know what you're going to find when you're doing this type
Oh,
of
yeah,
work
yeah.
on people. But still, the important thing is, for 50 years, she was carrying all this around in her heart chakra, and she got up off my table a new woman. And so you become real healers. And when I say real healers, I'm not saying that everyone who does healing work is not a healer. But if you really get into the specialties and subspecialties and learn as much as you can, that will put you ahead of the rest and keep your referrals coming in, because you're going to be known as someone who's a really good healer. All right.
Yeah, yeah. You know
Let's,
what? I'm gonna quickly say I did not remember until you said that, pulling that out. And you know me and how I'm terrified of snakes.
yes, you are.
Here I was doing this healing actually a revocation ritual for this woman, and I am pulling out and I see it and I'm like, okay, I have to do this. Giant anaconda snake, black and red, and I have to pull this out and I'm pulling it out, and I'm going and I'm like, they're coming out and all these different things that I'm doing. And then and I told her this afterwards, and she goes, yeah, it was there. I felt it. And I'm just like, yeah. And that's kind of like, I'm saying, yeah, and I have to come and deal with this.
It's
Because
true.
I am like,
I'm not going to pretend.
I really did not want to have to deal with this. And she was like, yeah, it's been there. And and she's going on. And I'm like, she knew, she was like, I did not realize what exactly, but I described it in detail to her. And, and of course I was terrified doing it, but, it was part of what I had to do, and it was interesting that you mentioned the horse. And it's for some reason I'm thinking, maybe I had to deal with that too, to help. It is what it is, you
It
move
is
on.
what it is. There's
Yeah.
worse things, and we're not going to pretend that it's all sunshine and rainbows. Of course,
Not.
you have to deal with a lot of stuff. You have to deal with entities. You have to deal with demons. You have to deal with all kinds of crap. But if you are well skilled in what you do, that's not a problem, because I do it all the time, and it's all good. All right. So now moving on to Gotta Start. Did you have a tip that you wanted to share?
I had just
Your
shared
turn.
one.
Or was it my turn? I'm lost
It was
now.
your turn, yeah. It
That's
was
why
your
I
turn
know.
now because I had just said it. I think I mentioned the sexual part, and you also mentioned the sexual
Yes,
part,
okay.
and the cursing and the hexing removal. That's
All right.
if that's what your specialty is, that's another thing that's a big deal with a lot of people. Very, very big deal with a lot of people. Saying that they have different curses or hexing on them, and people are not believing them. But until you meet them or something like that, and you see it without even bringing out your deck of cards or anything like that, you're seeing things that was already there.
Right.
So that it depends on what it is you are comfortable with. You have to be comfortable with it because someone may have a gift. I was not comfortable dealing with the snake, but it's something that I had to deal with. You know, it is what it is. So it all depends on if you're willing to kind of say to yourself, I know I could deal with this and just move on with it, and do it.
Absolutely. And we've also got some comments here that we'll go over before we get into, let's see, our next thing. I have to scroll up a little bit, so just bear with me for a second. Going up higher. Okay, we got that one.
Oh, and good night, Goddess Mystic. I think that should just left. Good night.
All right. I am so sorry. Someone named 333 is sitting next to an Uber racist and McDonald's. I'm sorry that you're going through that. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, let's see what we got here. We've got Black Mama Raven. Many people have come up missing. Maybe they have been taken to Mars or God knows where. 333 says all is well. When people's energy is so potent in hatred, it can kill. Oh, you know what? That is very true. I can't stand being around people that have that horrible energy. Let's see. 333 has protective herbs under her hair hat, so that's good. Good for you. Let's see. 333 says she needs to do some more protection work. Mr. Crone had to go, but she's a tarot reader, and her head's always in a book. I know it's too late to say goodnight to you, Mr. Crone, but good night wherever you are. Have a good rest. We've got Tempest of Nature, likes to work with sage and doesn't like working with, I can't with people with their sporadic energy, so she uses lots of sage around her. She stays far away from people, being around more with animals and plants. Good for you. You know what? And that there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's
Tempest of Nature likes to carry an amethyst. Good for you because it does feel good. I'm a big amethyst person
yeah,
myself.
that's what I carry with me when I do readings sometimes professionally with people out.
Nova Cynthia Barker says hot sauce is definitely medicine. You got that right, goddess. And yes, it does burn you, but it's a good burn. It's a tasty burn. And Nova also says these are great ideas for solutions for branching out in our healing work. I'm glad that you can take this and utilize it to really help you with expanding your practice. All right, so my next thing that I have is a wand and magical tool maker. So I love handmade wands by, first of all, for my one, I make most of my own. I don't have one right next to me that I can show you right this second. Actually, I do. If I can reach it all the way over here.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And we even have wand classes too. There you go. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Here is one of my wands that I make. And it's got the crystal and the fur. It's wrapped in copper. It's got copper beads, crystal beads. It's stuffed with all kinds of crystals and herbs and oils in it. I like to make my own wands. And I used to do very good business as a wand maker in New York before I came here to Albuquerque. More with my first husband, who's very metaphysical, not my second husband, but we used to do a lot of things with that. Making different kinds of wands is a really good trade if you can make wands. I personally, because I'm a copper chick, I like to make copper wands, but I also would love to. I can't do it so much here because we don't have the right trees for it. I used to make wands. I would go into Belmont Lake State Park, where I used to live across the street from that on Long Island. And I would get fallen branches that had the pine cones still attached to it. And I would fit the crystals into the pine cones and then at the top of the branch. So you can make wands from just tree branches. You can make it from various kinds of metals. Some people make actual crystal wands where they'll take a crystal point and then they'll put other stones on top of it to make the wand. Some people make staffs. One of my clients has the most gorgeous, the thing has to be like 6 feet tall. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous staff that was handmade for her. And she brought it to show me because she knows I like those things. And when she had the wand, the staff made, she got to choose the crystals that went in it and on it. She got to choose the herbs they were putting in it. You know, it was custom made to her specific specifications. You can do really well with that. If you make atmes, wands, any bracelets, magical jewelry, you know, magical jewelry is really in. We've got, like, this is an aqua aura to help me to balance out my body, my mind, and spirit, but it also brings me peace and also brings wealth, because what it is, when I first saw it, I thought it was an aquamarine, but what it is, it's a quartz crystal that has gold and platinum bonded to it, which then, of course, would bring wealth energies to it as well. So it's a, you know, our jewelry as witches are our magical tools to us. The rings we wear, the necklaces we wear. My peacock earrings, the peacock is sister to the phoenix. It can help you to rise up from the ashes and do things for yourself if you charm them properly. So you can become a magical tool worker. And there are all kinds of things that you can make. You know, one of my things that I so envy are people who have copper top altars where they have the sheet of copper over it, and you can inscribe all kinds of symbols and sigils and things and make altar tops for people, you know, where you can file down the edges and put the symbols to their specifications that they want, or you can carve the symbols or engrave the symbols into different crystals and stones or things that they may want. Becoming a magical tool worker, you can make a tremendous amount of money. Or if, like I said, if it comes to the fact where we have no money anymore, you know, you would be able to trade for things like that, because you would be able to help people with the things that you're making. And so you want to think about how maybe perhaps you can make magical tools. I've told this story before. I tell it in my book. You know, one of the things that got me started when I was dead, when I say I was dead broke, when I was a mortgage underwriter, for those of you who don't know this story, I was a mortgage underwriter for over 20 years. I mean, I've always been a witch, but that was how I made most of my money, was in the mortgage industry. And then in 2005, it just completely crashed. I had no career after that. I was dead broke. I mean, I'm talking broke. I ate out of a food pantry. I lost my home. I sold it like 10 days before the foreclosure, but still, I had to sell it at a $50,000 loss. I got like nothing out of it. And one of the things when I asked Spirit, because I had to sell off all the things that I had to try to survive, and I asked my guys, like, all right, dudes, universe, I'm like 30 days from being homeless. So what are we going to do? And I was guided to buy this copper. I have one over here. I'll get up and get it in a second. This copper wire, and to affix different stones to it and make Reiki bracelets. Now, back then, copper was a lot cheaper than it is now. Copper has gone up tremendously, but back then it was really cheap. But still, I didn't want to even spend the $50. It was 50 precious dollars that I had that I'm going by faith, but I did, because I found that it's better to listen to the universe than to not listen, because when you don't listen, you will get your ass kicked. So I said, okay, I'm going to listen. And I went and I bought the stuff and I made these bracelets, these Reiki bracelets, to empower people so that they could, you know, wear them as they're doing their Reiki healings and things like that, or casting their spells, because it's copper and such. And I sent them, I took pictures of them and I sent them to every Reiki healer I could Google here in Albuquerque, with the hope that somebody would buy some. And with all of the emails that I sent, we've got 1,000 Reiki healers here, only 2 people answered me. One of them was, one of them said, thank you, but no thank you. And the other woman said, you know what, I like these, come down. And so I went down to her space. It was called All Things Sacred. She had a healing place here. And I went down there and she looked at my bracelets. She said, this was a hardcore businesswoman. Even though she was very metaphysical and witchy, she was still a businesswoman. And she sat down and she says, why are you selling these so cheap? And I was like, well, I really need the money. So I thought, she goes, no, 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 no. She raised the price of my bracelets herself and then bought 3 of them at the price that she raised it to. She didn't try to take advantage of me and buy them cheap. She goes, no, no, no. Here's what you're going to sell them for, and I'm going to buy 3 of them for you right now at this price. Which just, my confidence went right through the roof when she did that. Then she said to me, keeping in mind this woman did not know me from Adam, said, you know what, I have an extra room here, and it's got a massage table in it. If you want to do Reiki healings or readings or things like that, I can give you this room, and I can refer clients to you. Just like that, my business started by making these power bracelets, these Reiki power bracelets that I made on faith because the universe told me to. And then I took them down to the Blue Eagle to see if they would order them on consignment. And as I was showing Mitch, the owner, the people in the store were coming, wow, I can feel the energy. Wow, wow, wow. And they all wanted to buy them. So he says, you know what? I'm going to give you a space over here on the weekends and you can do your henna tattoos and sell your bracelets and things like that. So you can actually, I pulled myself out of the abyss by making these bracelets and just throwing it out there. And my business was built from there just by making this power tool. And so you should consider becoming some sort of a magical tool worker. It doesn't even have to cost you a lot of money. If you live near a forest or you've got trees and the branches fall down, you can use the branches from the trees. You can use pretty much anything, or find ways to do it where it's not going to cost you a lot of money. Look for wholesale suppliers if you decide you want to make things with crystals and stones or whatever it is, and see how that goes. Because you can really make a living for yourself as a magical tool worker, making wands, making specific jewelry, making, the Reiki bracelets or whatever it is that you can make, that you can incorporate crystals and herbs and things like that, and wires and all kinds of stuff. Be as creative as you like. You can paint it. There's all kinds of things you can do. So that is my next suggestion for what you can do as an adept to make money for yourself as a professional witch. So what do you think about that, Goddess Star?
I think it's wonderful, and you made me realize something because it's just so funny. Recently, I actually joined some Facebook groups, 2 of them to be precise, that they're into blacksmithing. So they are doing the old-fashioned swords and athames and different things like that, and they're telling you the different places and how you can get it for almost either free or where to get it for least very little money, that you can get all your supplies from, and how to make it. And they even help you with not designing so much, but as to how to make it and make it on a budget and things like that. And I think that's wonderful. That's not my talent, but I do love swords and all these different types of things. And I'm sure there's other people that would love to say and would pay good money for someone who could make homemade athames made with different metals and things like that. I think it would be wonderful if you can do that. If you have that kind of talent or have the means to have that talent, I think it'll be wonderful for someone to do that. And going back to, remember me mentioning that about getting your reverend license and the things that you can do as a priestess or as a reverend. Going down the list, I think I mentioned hand fastings, there's hand partings, the baby blessings, the baby wickenings and namings. There's the rites of passages, like whether they become a teenager, an adult, or different things, the croning. There's so many rituals that you can do with people, and you charge for those different services. It's a ritual that you do that takes your time, your effort, your planning, your ritual designing, all of that. There are commitment ceremonies. Let's see, and the rites of passages are very much similar to like a bar mitzvah or bar mitzvahs, things like that. There's the last rites, funerary rites, that we can do as well. There's also the pet rites that people do for the last rites of a pet. Or, as Goddess Rhonda mentioned earlier, she said people who true pet lovers will do just about anything for their pets. So who knows? You can go through that whole thing again right there with the pets, different pet ceremonies that you can do. So you have to think about all of the things that you can do, and there's a list, and that's a great idea that she has for putting a menu, literally, of all the things that you do. And I'm sure that's not all. She hasn't even covered half of it or most of it on her menu. But do similar and add those things to what you can do. Add your different many healing ideas or thoughts or menus, the things that you want to do as a covering, as a healer, as a someone that's coming to your house, and all businesses that you can set up businesses in a feng shui kind of way, where it's set up. You do the clearing as a witch and set it up as a feng shui or however way that you guys want to do it to bring in prosperity into that business. What's the name? The name of that place? There's a real estate company, big one here in New York, Corcoran. I don't know if there's a Corcoran in every state or whatever, but Corcoran's pretty well known. But they do not set up their offices unless they do it in the sense of either feng shui or something like that, that they set up and they have people come in and set it up metaphysically before they open their doors for business. And these are big corporation companies in real estate. So, and I've heard of it with other types of businesses too. So if it works for them, then maybe this is something that you do, where you walk in and you use your witch skills to help provide something similar to a feng shui setup. Name it whatever it is that you're going to name it, that sounds aligned really well, and set up their businesses for bringing in prosperity and different things that you can do. There's so many avenues that we can sit down. Some of them we're thinking of off the top of our heads right now, because we hadn't even thought of it ourselves. But as we're thinking about it, if there is a skill out there for just about anything that someone requires, then, and they say, do you do so and so, rather than say no, say maybe I don't know how to do it right now, or actually, you know what, I do know how to do that. And go ahead and do that, or I will get back to you, because either you're going to go and learn it, or you can get someone who does know it and learn from that person. Maybe you can exchange your talents, and maybe that's one way you can trade. I have this talent, you have that talent, we teach each other the same talent, that talent that the other one has, and you move on from there, you know what I mean? And you can have another skill that you've added to your belt. Every time you turn around and you have to say to someone, no, I can't do this, but I'll pass you on to so and so, that skill, you're losing out on that talent. Because I'll tell you something, the same person that I did the snake with, again, I don't like snakes. Okay, the same person that I did the snakes with, this was a client that called me a year ago, and she said certain things, but this is another thing that you learn after a while. She said to me, I have so and so clothes put on me, and it's been with me for 3 years. I've tried this voodoo person, that santera, different things, and it's not working. But could you pass me on to a santero that in New York? And I said, I do know of one. And I passed on to that person. And a year later, she calls me back. She goes, Star, that was good that you recommended, but I keep coming back to you. So I think I want to try you. I want to see what you can do. And to be told that finally she's telling me that of all the monies, 15,000 to that person, 15,000 to that person, 8,000 to that person, that what I'm doing for her is the first time someone's thought outside the box and just looked at her and said, this is what you need to do in a logical manner. And it worked. Of all the money she's paid, you know what I mean? You have to kind of see where your talent lies. And maybe people are knocking at your door and saying, I'm coming back to you each time. Why aren't you answering my call? Kind of a thing. And you have to do that. And again, reason for me was mostly because I was so busy that I was like overwhelmed. I had so many clients coming in all at once and different things. I just felt like, okay, let me pass that one on to another person. you know, and then to have them come right back to me again. And I said, okay, I'm going to create the time for you and I'll do it. And then you have to learn to, as we've discovered over the years, I know Goddess Rhonda has told me many a time, I'm so tired, I'm so overwhelmed, but we have to learn to kind of, we have to schedule them and kind of go, okay. And I've literally, and another thing you have to do with that also is to literally organize, like how we schedule time for ourselves is the same we have to schedule for all the clients. Do not call me within this outside of the time I'm specified for you, because otherwise it all becomes overwhelming because you're very busy. You get very busy with all of this now. So imagine when and if we do go through that time of that kind of coming of time of as we may see it, you will get even more busier. So you have to learn to develop that skill of also scheduling and timing for yourself so you're not overwhelmed by all the things that are going to be coming at you. And give yourself the time right now while you're still going through the stages of what possibly could be coming to really learn your craft. Become adept at whatever those different crafts or talents are. You know your talents inside of you. You know the talents that are calling out to you. You know what you're passionate about. So really begin to learn your craft with it so you can then learn to work with it and have it provide for you financially, physically, mentally, because when you are working with your passions, it does supply all those needs. Your mentally, physically, all of it. It does because it's your passion. You're doing the things that you love, and not just for a means of supporting yourself and survival, but actually you're passionate about it. You love doing this work. And that's one of the things that I know for a fact, Goddess Rhonda, we do love doing what we do. We do
Mhm.
love learning more about other ways to help our clients. We do love learning how to do all of it so that we can say to the person, okay, I'm going to schedule you in here. I'm tired. I'm really busy, but I'm going to schedule you in here because I know I can help you. And you have to know that with confidence that you can help this person and you can figure it out how to help them. All right. So what do you think, Goddess?
I think that you're right. Add a couple of things to that. Did I take myself off? I'm still on mute here
I
because
don't
I
know.
keep hearing myself.
I know. I keep
Nope,
hearing a
I'm
feedback.
on mute, so it must be
So am I.
something inside of YouTube. I
I'm
don't know.
gonna
I
double check mute
got
again.
that.
I'm always double checking. I'm always double checking. No, I'm still on mute. Okay.
So it's
All
got to be
right.
in their system. But anyway, when Goddess Star was talking about, if someone asks you and you're like, oh, I don't know, don't say that you don't. I want to tell you another story of mine, one of my favorite stories. I am a big believer in just jumping in. Either I swim or I don't swim. And so while I was going through this transition, I told you about making my bracelets and things like that, but I wanted to expand. I dug out some of my bracelets that I had left. These are the bracelets that I made. And they're just basically copper. This one has amethyst. This one has aventurine. This one is amber and jet. And you would wear it as you're doing your healing work or your magical work so that your energy would combine with the copper. Copper is the second highest conductor of electricity, and the stones and the silver, and it would make your power stronger. So I was selling them that way. You could put them over your candles to do your candle work, or you can hold them in your hands to balance out your energy. So I just wanted to show you some of those things. This is how I got started, was making these things. And then I said, well, I also want to do readings as well. And back in the 80s, I used to do tea leaf readings. And, life gets in front of you. You don't do things as much as you used. You can't do everything. But I was trying to figure out, because again, you have to think outside the box. And I was like, there's a million tarot card readers. I want to do something different. I'll do old school stuff. So I was going to offer crystal ball readings, tea leaf readings, and palmistry, because you don't see that a lot. And so I said, I used to do tea leaf readings. I'll start there. And so I sent out an email. We have a lot of tea houses here. And I sent out an email to the tea houses here saying, I'm a tea leaf reader and I would love the opportunity perhaps to come and, excuse me, do readings out of your store. do tea leaf readings or something like that. And I really didn't expect to get a whole, responses. And I sent it out. That was a Wednesday night that I sent it out. Not even 10 minutes later, I got an email back from the New Mexico Tea Company saying that they were opening their lounge that Friday and they wanted me to come down and do tea leaf readings. But first I had to go tomorrow, which was Thursday, to read for his mother to make sure I was legitimate. Now I'm having a heart attack because I haven't read tea leaves in like 30 years. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to know it by tomorrow. I have to remember everything by tomorrow. So I'm digging through looking for my tea leaf reading book. I'm looking up stuff online.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? There's no way I'm going to memorize all of these symbols in a night. I'm a psychic. I will interpret the symbols psychically. I'll just do that. And so I went down the next day and I read for his mom, and she liked my reading. So she did a good job. She's okay. So Friday, we want you to come down to our lounge, and what you'll do is to walk around and ask, people if they would like a tea leaf reading, and then you can bring them upstairs and do the reading for them. And I said, okay, I can do that. Even though I was a nervous wreck, I was going to do it anyway. First of all, I had no option. I had to make money, and this was my big chance to break into the psychic reading world here. And so I pulled myself together, even though I was nervous. I walked into that place like I was the best tea leaf reader in the entire universe. And I said to the woman, I said, okay, would you like me to walk around now and ask people if they would like a reading? And she goes, oh no, we already told them you were coming. They're upstairs waiting for you. I look up and there's like 50 faces looking down at me. Now my heart is literally in my mouth because I'm expecting, I'll do 1 or 2, 3, 4 people as I walk around the room. Here are all of these people in this little upstairs space waiting for me up there. So I go up there looking like I'm the most confident witch in the entire world, even though my knees were shaking. And I flop down. There's no privacy. So you do one reading. Everyone's watching and listening. Fights were breaking out because they didn't have a sign-in sheet. People were scared. Everybody was cutting the line. And so I just, I said, okay, I'm just going to focus on the person in front of me. I'm going to ignore everything else and just do my readings that way. And I did. I was supposed to work that party, I think, for 2 or 3 hours. I was there for 6 hours working that party. That's how many people came. And that's what I called my trial by fire, because I sat there and did back-to-back tea leaf readings, and everyone was amazed at how on point I was. And after that night, I figured if I could do that, I can do anything.
Yeah.
I can do anything. That just gave me all the confidence that I needed, and I just jumped in with confidence in the skills that I had as a psychic. And so I don't want you to be afraid to jump off the cliff and jump in. Sometimes that's the best way to learn anyway, is to immerse yourself.
Absolutely.
Just, you're already a psychic person. And if you get an opportunity, don't say, well, I need to study for 2 more years. No, you don't. You're already a psychic. It's already in here.
Yeah.
Just go with it. If the universe gives you that opportunity, then they have the confidence that you can do it. Roll with the universe's confidence in you and do what you have to do. Do not be afraid. Even if you are afraid, do it anyway. I was petrified. I was not expecting that. I was not. I thought, I'd walk around and every once in a while someone would get a tea leaf reading. I was not expecting to walk into that. And so if I can pull that off, I know that you can. You just have to go and do it and say, you know what, I've got this skill. And it helps to know what your skills are. You really should think about what is it that you like to do. You don't want to do something that you're just doing for money, because then it's work. You want to do something that feeds your soul. What feeds your soul? Is it working with wands? Is it working with jewelry? Is it writing a book? Is it teaching? Is it healing? Is it being a professional witch? Is it ministry? Decide what is it that feeds your soul first, and then expand on that, because you do want to do something that you love to do. Maybe some of the things we talked about here tonight does not resonate with you. Maybe one thing resonates with you. Go with that one thing. But you want to figure out, based on what your skills are and what it is that you like to do, take that and turn that into something that you can use to provide you and your family with a shelter and food and whatever it is you need, because we don't know what's going to happen. We talked about the automation taking over. We talked about this dude who's planning to colonize Mars with 1 million people in 5 years. You're not going to tell me you just came up with that idea and you're going to get that shit done in 5 years. That's not going to happen. You've been already working on this for like 10 years, 15 years, probably bringing stuff up and getting things set up there. And then, you know, I have no trust in the hierarchy. So for all I know, they're going to take all the corporate billionaires and go to Mars and live in luxury and leave us down here, because we don't know what's coming. If this guy's saying he's saving us, he wants to do this by 2020 to save us from impending doom. Okay, what impending doom is coming in 2020 or right after that you guys are talking about? We don't know what's coming, but the signs and omens and portents are there. The universe is letting us know, get yourself together and prepare yourself. And even if you're just doing work so that you'll be able to defend your family or defend your finances or whatever, it is very, very important that we take all of this very seriously and really look to our future. Now, there may be some of you who are older that might be saying, well, you know, I've got my pension or whatever, I'm going to be fine. Well, if you don't want to think about yourself, think about your children, think about your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren that aren't going to be fine because they don't have a pension. You know, if you don't feel like doing it, then maybe you can get your children involved to show them that they need a skill to learn, or your grandchildren. You can start teaching them things if you know something that you can teach them or gear them to get them ready. Because when you're long gone, the people that, you know, your generation, the future generations are still coming. And you want to make sure that your family, your great-grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren, and so on, are going to be able to do something. So you can even just start a business now that you can pass down to your family members so that they can keep it going and they can start building it up so that their name is well known by the time that happens.
Yeah.
What were you saying, guys?
I was just going to say that a lot of people saying about the pension, who knows if it's even going to be there for them to have this time.
That's
and
right.
I don't rely on that, because the way things are going, who knows if it's conspiracy theory or not, who knows what is going to be. So don't depend on that. So think of something outside the box for yourself, because what if? I'm just saying. And then I wanted to kind of, I looked at the chat room, and Nate and the guys of No School Like the Old School said a few things. So I wanted to quickly read it. I just love this show because you both adjust the deal. Thank you, Nate.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Goddess Rhonda. Also, Goddess Rhonda, people are paying you for the power of your blessing. That is something we tend to skip or not think about, and you're so right about that.
Oh, thank you.
So every ritual that you are paid for, the heart of your intention is part of the transaction. That skill and power you have built up is no different than Serena's tennis match practice for 30 years. So right. So right. That skill level makes the blessing work. It's not just the universe or raw Tao. Those energies depend on us in the ceremony to be directed. So, you know, all of what he says, as usual, Nate, you give such wisdom in all the things that you say, and your compliment is so appreciated. We appreciate you
very
all.
Much. Very much.
What you say. And note that we appreciate your wisdoms as well, because all of you say things that do add to when we are talking about different topics, and it's all part of what we, I guess it's more of a reciprocal relationship that we all have with one another. We're not just here speaking to you or at you. This is us conversing with one another and saying and doing things together, and that we appreciate very much from you all. So just wanted to let you guys know. Yes.
You guys teach us too.
Yes, absolutely. Such great wisdom. Yes. And
so
God is right. We don't know everything. You know, we are here. We know certain parts. You know certain parts, and we complement one another. There you go.
Exactly. All righty. I didn't even realize that we were just.
Time, I know.
I have to tell you, I'm enjoying that. I have more to talk about, but we will save this for. I'll make notes of what we didn't talk about, and we'll save that for a future show when we check in with you guys to see what your progress is on creating something for yourselves that you will be able to take into the future and make a living for yourself, be it either to get paid with money, or if we have to go back to the bartering system or whatever, you will have a marketable skill. You know, that was something that my father beat into all of our heads, is you must have a marketable skill. You have to have a marketable skill. You have to have a skill that you can take anywhere and everywhere and you can make money from it. And that is very true. And I've lived my life with that. You know, you got to have a marketable skill. And so if you can create a marketable skill using your witchcraft, you will not have to worry about anything. You will be okay. But it is important, really important now, to take the time to either learn something, if you're not, you know, to figure out what it is that you're good at or what it is that will feed your soul, research it and to the nth degree and learn the hell out of it, and then go ahead and hang out your shingle. Even if you don't need to make the money now, go ahead and hang out your shingle anyway, so that by the time that time comes, you're already well known, you've already established yourself. You don't want to say, well, I'll just sit and wait and see if we go into a depression or things like that. Well, by the time that happens, the people that have already studied their skills and hung out their shingles are already going to be cornering the market. And so you want to be ahead of the game and do something now. Hang out your shingle. Even if you just do one reading a week or something, at least you can say that you're a professional reader. And you can start to build a business from that, or at least you can at least get your name out there, so that when people think, oh, I need a reader, or I need a healer, or I need a wand maker, or a jewelry maker, or whatever it is, oh, you know what, I'll call up Rhonda, I'll call up Goddess Star. I've heard of them. We'll go with them. You want to get yourself known now. Like I said, you don't have to quit your job and do something full time. If you just, you know, get your jewelry shop up on Etsy, and at least it's there. So if someone looks at it 2 years from now and say, oh, this person's been in business for 2 years, you know, they must be pretty good or whatever. Go ahead and learn as much as you can and hang your shingle out now, so that you can start to build a name for yourself. Because in this business, referral business is everything. I would say a good 80% of my business is repeat referrals, or people giving constantly. You know, I heard you helped so and so, and they referred me to you. I get a tremendous amount of referral business, and which I need. Referral business is good. And so you want to start to get your name out there, start thinking about what it is you want to do, plan your steps to study it and implement it. Go ahead and jump off the cliff. Don't be afraid. The universe will catch you, and get ready to really take control of your life and be able to provide for your families. Because I never again, I don't know how many people out there who are listening have been through this, but I never again want to be in a position where I lose my career, don't have a new one, and lose literally everything. To be that destitute, I don't want that again. And so I've learned things and trades and things that will help me to keep that from happening. And I don't want to, that's probably one of the reasons I am so passionate about this, is because I've lived this already. And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare to go from an affluent person to eating out of a food pantry and being almost homeless. That was devastating. But it's what had to happen to get me to where I am today. And if that's what that took, I'm a stronger person for it, and that's okay. But I don't want to see any of you ever go through that. So before it happens, before a robot comes in and takes your job, or before all the rich people take off and live in Mars and leave us down here to our own fate, now is the time to prepare for this. And so go ahead, figure out what it is that you want to do, what feeds your soul, what's going to be able to provide sustenance for you and your family, and rock and roll. It's time to get your metaphysical hustle on. And it's time to start with that, doing that now, because we don't know what's coming in the next few years. And I'm very suspicious. I know I keep talking about it. I don't understand how this billionaire is thinking he's going to colonize Mars in 5 years if he has not already started. It's just, it's not going to happen. So anyway, with all of that said, we are pretty much at the end. Is there anything you wanted to add, Goddess Star, before we close out?
Yes. But before I say my last goodbyes to them at the end, I wanted to say, Goddess Latanya said, Goddess Rhonda and Goddess Star, I am so thankful for you both.
Oh,
Nate said, thank you, Goddess. And Nate also said, I always forget to like the show because I try to watch it live. Whoops. Don't forget to like you all. Goddess Black Mama Raven says, thank you, ladies. Goddess Alicia said, I want to be a winemaker. I'm like, yay, good for you, girl.
rock on.
Go on.
Those ones.
Goddess I think I don't know if it's Goddess or Lord. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I hear Sean says, thank you for this wonderful share. So we want to thank you all, and we really, really, truly appreciate you all.
Yes.
And for supporting us and for being here with us. And we appreciate all of you and all the things that you say and all the wisdom that you share with us as well.
Yes.
And we thank you both. We thank you all, or rather, the both of us thank you all very much.
From the bottom of our heart, we thank you for your support.
Absolutely. You help make our show what it is.
We just love you. And
yes, you guys help our show become what it is. Thank you.
All right. So we will see you next week. And until then, merry meet, merry part.
Merry part.
And
merry meet again.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. And we'll see you next week. Peace to you. Bye-bye.